The Lightworkers have a lot to do. July 29, 2014. We mentioned in our previous communication that as long as you have love in your heart and you're willing to express this love to every facet of creation around you, you'll find that your lives become much more enjoyable, and the connections you seek to make are made with relative ease. Some days, you're going to have difficulty finding and acting on the powerful, heart-centered connections you have the potential to make, and when this happens, we encourage filling yourselves to the brim with love, while refusing to deny any negative feelings that arise as a result of your seeming misconnection. Misconnection is necessary at times, because it helps the seekers who experience it reach a new stage in their creativity. What we mean is that creative blocks sometimes force a person to take stock of their lives and where the creative routes they've pursued have led them. Creative blocks cause deep contemplation in many cases, and this contemplation can take you to a much deeper level than you would have thought or assumed you could reach before. Embrace a creative block if it comes your way, blast it with love and let it know that it isn't intended to stay, but only to teach you whatever vital lesson you're meant to learn. You're on the earth to learn a plethora of different and important lessons, and you're given these lessons in plenty of different ways. Constant inner contemplation. Creative blocks are only one out of many ways the lessons you're meant to learn will reach you, and we encourage constant inner contemplation to the degree that a creative block would have you employ. When you can constantly reflect on yourselves and the existence around you, not seeing it as separate from yourself, but as united with you, you'll realize that you truly are one with all of creation. What you perceive in your outer and inner realms are composed of the same matter, but your physical realm is composed of a much denser version of this matter that doesn't make allowance for your greater spiritual capabilities as much as, say, the fourth and fifth dimensions do. It isn't impossible to utilize your higher gifts from the lower dimensions of the earth, however, and a growing number of seekers are proving this as they access their higher vibrational abilities, such as channeling and plenty of others, and use them to help waves of other seekers become aware of spirit and the necessity to live in love and transmute the inner negativity that keeps you from perceiving spirit and the wonders it has to offer. As you practice your greater abilities, you refine them and make way for the expression of your heart-centered selves, the higher aspects of yourselves who are descending down onto your minds and hearts, delightfully assisting you in accommodating them. Soon, what many souls see as channeling will become a common practice, because every soul on your planet will speak from their hearts instead of their minds. In actuality, this is what channeling is, heart-centered communication. The heart receives the impressions of the higher self, while at the same time, helping the seekers who connect find a higher vibration, and when you channel, you interpret the energies of your higher selves and whichever guide you choose to have speak through you, the impressions of whom are received through the open and brimming heart. Even though you act as conduits for your higher selves, guides, etc. when you channel, the heart-centered connection you make will become commonplace for all of humanity and everyone will learn to speak telepathically and from the heart. Some souls might think telepathy comes strictly from the mind, but in fact, your telepathic abilities convey the expressions of the heart. Your hearts communicate everything you receive when you channel the higher realms or do anything else that's intended to be spiritually nourishing, and as your collective vibration continues to rise, all of humanity will discover their brimming heart space and seek to live from it, expressing love, joy, and harmony to everyone around them in the process. We spoke in our last communication about the importance of embodying the positive qualities that comprise the higher state of consciousness you're re-entering, and we can't express this importance enough. The benefits of living in love. Living in love and expressing the resulting joyful emotions to those around you will help you uplift yourselves and everyone else who's been stuck in darkness and lower dimensionality for millennia, and you'll even find that your creative works flow easily. Generally, everything you seek to do will become more enjoyable. You have the potential to enjoy everything about your existence, and all you have to do is let yourselves. We've spoken before about manually putting yourselves in a positive frame of mind, but you don't necessarily have to enforce this practice in a rigid way. If you open up to the love and joy that constantly sit within, you'll find that you don't have to make any effort beyond the effort you'd already made in opening up. You can emotionally create positivity within, but it isn't necessary to find a brimming and joyful state of consciousness. Rather, becoming conduits for the energy that's already there will help you feel it in the purest sense, and we're confident that those of you who are especially committed to reaching a constant, lively state of mind will be able to, as long as you keep showing the effort you've diligently shown. Humanity is on a fast track to perceiving amazing higher vibrational wonders that'll leave you in awe and amazement, but these wonders have to come from within before they can be reflected in your outer reality. The miraculous events so many of you have waited so long to see, will have to manifest as a result of humanity's diligent inner work, and the harder you work to align with the divine qualities and enjoy the resulting higher vibration, the sooner the events you've heard so much about will be able to manifest. We don't recommend focusing entirely on these events, however, because there's so much more for you to focus on that's more worth your time and effort. Your aforementioned inner work, for example, is far more important than any manifestation that'd result from it. Your ability to feel the higher vibrational magic descending onto your minds and hearts is more important than anything else, and when you can feel this energy in much purer ways than most of you are currently able to, you'll see that little else matters. Dates for the manifestation of certain miraculous events don't matter as much as the immensely pure inner perception you can find, and if your collective vibration was just a little purer, you'd perceive wonders that'd leave you in awe. Many seekers await the manifestation of events that'll directly confirm everything they believe and feel within, but the higher vibration you can each find will convince you of the reality of such beliefs far more than witnessing a fleet of craft in your skies, or anything else that'd peel the collectively enforced illusion away, and introduce humanity to a new frame of perception. If each of you committed to the inner work you still have left to do, the events you've been waiting to see happen because of a seeming absence of confirmation of your beliefs would be unnecessary, because you'd have all of the confirmation you needed every time you closed your eyes to the glittering vibrations many of you are already beginning to feel. These events will still result from humanity's lightened vibration, of course, but by the time they reach you, they'll be seen as a welcome confirmation of your potent inner work and the beliefs that led to such work. Disappearing into your center. You'll see that your work in transcending the ego and finding a higher vibration allowed for the manifestation of disclosure-related events and various other things that so much of the conscious public has waited so long for, and you'll have long stopped hungering for their manifestation because you'll have directed your focus within instead of without. When you let yourselves disappear into your personal, sacred centers, which is slightly different from living in a constant, heart-centered space, you'll find that the resulting energy you feel confirms many of the beliefs you've held close. The meditative energies you can tap into will help affirm the reality of everything you've believed in and empowered for so long, and if you understood how strong your ability is to pick up on and interpret higher vibrational energy for your benefit and that of the collective consciousness, you'd be very surprised. You'd likely seek to expand on this ability even more than you already have, and you'd find that you uplifted waves of others who benefited from the light you emitted when you practice your meditations and light emanations. The Lightworkers have a lot to do to fully transmute the bulk of dense energy that has and continues to clog your collective consciousness, and the light you can bring through will go a long way in transmuting this dense energy and clearing the way for the rest of your planet to transcend the ego and see into the wonders of the soul self. We'll make our final expressions for this communication with the utmost compassion for those of you who endlessly strive to find a higher state of consciousness. In time, you'll find that striving isn't as necessary as simply surrendering and letting the aforementioned positivity lead you from there, and when this is realized, those of you who've put so much rigid pressure on yourselves will see that life isn't meant to be difficult or unenjoyable. Your ascension process is nothing if not difficult, but you don't have to let the difficulty bring you down or affect you too heavily. Instead, you can, again, surrender the rigidity of the mind and ego, and settle into the loving groove that results. You'll be very glad you did, because you'll see that moving beyond the ego is more than necessary, for your betterment and that of the rest of your planet. Surrendering to the flow is one of the best things you can do for yourselves, and we feel an endless amount of compassion for those of you who find this difficult. In time, it'll no longer be difficult because the purified collective vibration will have made allowance for an easier surrender to the heart, but for now, keep strong and seek to live in love as much as you can. Thank you to my higher self and spiritual guides. Channeled through Wes Anak. cultureofawareness.com